All right, our story today is called The Full Belly Bowl. It's written by Jim Aylesworth, and he actually lives not too far away from us up in Chesterton. And he was a teacher, and he started writing books. And he came to Memorial School and talked to us quite a while ago about how he writes his books. And one of the stories I remember is he would go out with his class to recess and he would have a piece of paper in his pocket. And if he thought of an idea for a story, he would write it down on the piece of paper and kept a piece of paper with him at all times. So he was always ready to write down an idea. So this is Jim Aylesworth. And sometimes you'll find books that he signed because when he came to visit, the librarian had him sign his name like an autograph in the books. So we can look for those in the library. This is called The Full Belly Bowl. In a tiny house at the edge of the forest, there once lived a very old man and a cat. The cat, whose name was Angelina, was white with patches of black, and the very old man thought she was just about the sweetest cat in the whole world. On the day that this story begins, the very old man, hungry as usual, left Angelina on the sunny doorstep and went off into the forest in search of wild strawberries. He had not gone far when he heard the sound of a small voice in great distress. "Let me go!" yelled the voice. "Let me go!" At once the very old man picked up a stick and ran toward the voice. In a small thicket of trees he found that a fox had taken hold of a small wee man and was trying to carry him away. "Stop!" shouted the very old man, and he threw the stick, hitting the fox on the rump. Startled, the fox dropped his prey and ran off into the brush. The very old man could see that the wee small man was injured and needed some help, so he gently lifted him into his arms and carried him home. Once there, he bandaged the wee small man's leg and set about making him comfortable. He was curious, of course, about the wee small man and where he came from, but he was too polite to ask, and the wee small man didn't say. Nevertheless, for the next 3 days, the very old man extended his guest every courtesy and shared generously from his meager pantry. He even mended the wee small man's torn vest. Every day the wee small man grew stronger, and the two of them got along very well. Then, on the morning of the fourth day, the wee small man was gone without a word. A few days later, the old man found a letter on the doorstep. It was held beneath the rim of an overturned bowl. The letter was so small, you see this tiny piece of paper, that the very old man had to hold it with his fingertips. "Dear friend, in appreciation of your kindness and generosity, I leave you this full belly bowl. You never need no hunger again. Use it wisely, or it will be a burden." A burden is something that's hard to take care of. "To empty, pour it out. When not in use, store it upside down and out of reach of children." The letter was not signed. Do you think you know who it's from? Clearly, the bowl was a gift from the wee small man wherever he was, and it was intended to be used for food. Around the top of the bowl, there were words written in a language that the very old man had never seen. "What on earth is a full belly bowl?" wondered the very old man as he sat at the table with his cat Angelina. It was larger than the other bowls he owned, and prettier too, with decorations of flowers and mysterious birds. So that evening, the very old man prepared a stew and poured it into the full belly bowl. Bless you. As usual, he began to eat. Yet After eating and eating and eating, the bowl was still as full as when he began. He ate and ate and ate some more, and still there was no change. Finally, he poured the stew out into another bowl for Angelina. And at last, the full belly bowl was empty. Haley, do you need a Band-Aid? But the very old man certainly wasn't, and neither was Angelina. She was used to catching mice for her dinner and had never had more than a scrap or two from the table in her entire life. Both had to lie down, and when they did, they fell asleep. The next morning, the very old man was in for a surprise. The house was completely gray with cobwebs. They were everywhere, hanging from the rafters, sagging between the pictures on the wall, covering the mantel, covering the cupboard, covering his chair. It looked as if he had been asleep for years and years instead of just a single night. Then he saw the spiders. One after the other, they were streaming out of the full belly bowl. So it works with other things, thought the very old man. Quickly, he turned the bowl over, and the parade of spiders stopped. So one spider went into the bowl, and what happened? Just turned into a whole bunch of spiders. The very old man spent the next weeks ridding the house of spiders and getting used to using the full belly bowl properly. He made many delightful discoveries. He found, for instance, that he could multiply a single strawberry by placing it in the bowl and then repeatedly removing the strawberries until he had a heaping mound all plump and sweet. When he had had enough, he poured the last one onto the pile and put the bowl away. Indeed, the very old man soon forgot the meaning of hunger. In fact, he began to put on a little weight. And what with all the extra food being given to her, so did Angelina. The very old man did not forget the spider problem, however, and when he wasn't using the bowl, he turned it upside down and put it on the top shelf in the pantry. Then one morning, he made another exciting discovery. He had finished breakfast and was returning the bowl to the pantry when a button popped off his vest. It landed in the full belly bowl. When he reached in and took it out, it was immediately replaced by another one in the same way that the spiders and the strawberries were. It made him wonder what would happen if he put a coin in the bowl. And though the only coin he had was a copper penny, he decided to give it a try. To his delight, it worked. Each time he took a coin from the bowl, he found that another had taken its place. The very old man spent the rest of the morning taking pennies from the bowl. He worked until his arm ached, and the piles of pennies began to spill off onto the floor. It was then that he realized if he had a gold coin, he could put that into the bowl and with the same small effort make himself rich beyond his dreams. He decided to take the pennies to town and swap them for gold. His hands trembled with excitement as he swept the pennies off the table and into an old flour sack. With the heavy sack slung over his shoulder, he closed the door behind him, and leaving Angelina napping on the doorstep, he set off for town. Oh, excuse me. Unfortunately, the very old man had been so excited at the thought of becoming rich that he had forgotten to put the bowl away. And even worse, in the days before the bowl, Angelina had kept the house free of mice, but now, with so much other food around, she hadn't taken much interest in them. And worst of all, one of the mice, a great big one, thought he smelled something good to eat in the full belly bowl, and started climbing up the very old man's chair, which was right next to the table. So can you predict in your head what happens if a mouse climbs into the bowl? While that mouse was climbing up his chair, the very old man was swapping his pennies for 3 $10 gold pieces. Right away, he put one of them in his pocket to save for the full belly bowl. With another, he bought a new pair of boots and a fancy new vest with brass buttons. And since it was getting late, and he was worn out from carrying that heavy sack of pennies, he decided to spend the third coin on a splendid dinner and a night's lodging in a comfortable hotel. By noon the next day, the very old man was home again, and one look at Angelina, her nose pressed against the bottom of the door and her tail twitching, was enough to tell him that there was something wrong inside. And sure enough, there was mice everywhere, great big ones, and as fast as he could, the very old man made his way over to the table and dumped the last mouse out of the full belly bowl. Then he stood looking at Angelina. She was chasing around in a frenzy, doing her best, but not knowing which mouse to go after first. Thinking fast, the very old man picked her up, gently folded her legs, and set her down in the full belly bowl. What's going to happen? As soon as he took his hands away, Angelina jumped out again. And just that fast, she was replaced by another cat that looked exactly like her. That cat jumped out to be replaced by a third. Julianne, put that in your backpack. Thank you, Miss Kennedy. And so on until the house was wild with black and white cats chasing hundreds of mice. Look at that. Cats and mice everywhere. Very likely those cats would still be jumping out of that full belly bowl to this day if one of them hadn't chased a mouse up onto the table and knocked the bowl onto the floor. It shattered to pieces. What does shattered mean? Broken, yep. Still, the cats kept chasing after the mice, and by evening there wasn't a single mouse left in sight. Though relieved to be rid of the mice, the very old man was sad, at first, that the full belly bowl was broken. It had been nice not being so hungry all the time, but it had caused a lot of trouble too. And except for all of the cats, life soon returned pretty much to normal. He never saw the wee small man again, and he never got another full belly bowl. He did keep that $10 gold piece, however, and he promised himself that he would be much more careful next time, if there ever was a next time. And because they never sat still long enough to be counted, he never found out how many cats there were, and he never found out which one was Angelina. But in the end, it really didn't matter much. The truth is, he loved them all. To him, they were just about the sweetest cats in the whole world. Look at all those cats. That is a lot of cats, isn't it? Yeah. So how would you describe the old man when he realized he could put the money into the bowl? He became a little what?
Rich.
Yeah, rich, but what else, Ava?
Excited.
Excited, yeah. What do you call that when you keep wanting more and more? Haley? Happy, yeah, or greedy, right? He got kind of greedy. Julia, put it away. So once he wanted more and 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 more, right? He left to go get more money for the full belly bowl, but left the belly bowl turned up, and that's when the mice started crawling everywhere. So it even said he was kind of happy that the bowl broke because it was kind of a problem, wasn't it? All right, so we are going to talk about cause and effect this week. And we mentioned it during our pre-test this morning because one of the words was cause. And we have a story here called A Summer Day. So I'm going to let them read the story. Do you need to stand up and take a stretch first? Stand Get up and take a quick stretch. All right, here comes a summer day.
A summer day. It was a hot day, so Max got a bowl of ice cream. He sat outside to eat it. Max's friend Lucy came by with her new puppy. Max put down his bowl so he could play with Lucy's puppy. Max forgot all about his ice cream because he was busy playing with the puppy. Max looked down. Oh no! The hot sun caused his ice cream to melt.
All right, so there were 4 different things that happened in that story that were caused by something else. So the cause makes it happen. The effect is what happens afterwards. So let's start with the first sentence. You can read it with me. It says, "It was a hot day, so Max got a bowl of ice cream." What did Max do? Just a minute, Luke. What did Max do? Cam? He got a bowl of ice cream. What made him get the bowl of ice cream? Why did he want ice cream, Brandon?
Because he was hot.
All right, so the cause is Max was hot. The effect of being hot was he wanted ice cream. Luke, what did you need?
I need to go to the bathroom.
Okay. So let's keep going with the next section. And it says, Max's friend came by with her new puppy, Lucy. Max put down his bowl so he could play with Lucy's puppy. So what did he do there? Vivian?
Put down his bowl.
Yeah, what made him put down the bowl? Dylan, what made him put down the bowl? Nope, it wasn't melted. What made him put down the bowl, Bryce?
He wanted to play with the puppy.
He wanted to play with the puppy, right. So that's the cause. The cause is he wants to play with the puppy. So what does he do? He puts down the bowl. That's the effect. Max forgot all about his ice cream because he was busy playing with the puppy. What did he do here? Ava? Yep, that's right. So he was busy playing with the puppy that made him forget about his ice cream. So playing with the puppy was the cause. The effect was he forgot about his ice cream. Now here's the melting part, Dylan. Sit up, Dylan. Max looked down. Oh no, the hot sun caused his ice cream to melt. So what happened there? Irene?
He was playing with the puppy too long that he forgot about his ice cream and the sun that was melting.
Okay, so the sun was hot is the cause, and what happened because the sun was hot is ice cream melted. All right, so when we go through our stories this week, we're going to talk about the cause, what caused something else to happen. It was hot, so Max got ice cream. He wanted to play with the puppy, so he put down the bowl. He was playing with the puppy, so he forgot about his ice cream. And the sun was so hot, it melted his ice cream. So those are our cause and effects for that story. And we'll do more like that tomorrow. We'll do a page in Seesaw tomorrow with a bunch of cause and effects.